The morning she had to leave felt colder than usual. The city was still quiet when he arrived outside her house to bring her to the airport. Rain from the night before still covered the streets, making everything look gray and blurry. She stepped outside carrying her suitcase, while he immediately took it from her, without saying a word. Neither of them smiled much that morning. The closer they got to the airport, the quieter they became. Inside the taxi, she secretly looked at him several times, trying to memorize everything. The way he rested his arm near the window, the tired look in his eyes because he barely slept last night, the way his hand kept reaching for hers every few minutes, as if he was afraid to let go too early. When they finally arrived, reality suddenly felt heavier. People were walking everywhere, announcing flights, saying goodbye, laughing, crying. But somehow all she could focus on was him beside her. He carried her suitcase through the airport while staying unusually quiet. Even after checking in, neither of them moved away from each other. They just stood there near the entrance gate, pretending time was moving slower than it actually was. Finally, she looked at him softly. "You're making this harder." He laughed quietly, but his eyes looked sad. "I know." For a few seconds, silence stayed between them. Then suddenly he reached into his pocket and handed her something small, a folded paper. "What's this?" she asked softly. "Open it later," he replied. Before she could answer, the boarding announcement echoed through the airport. Her chest tightened immediately. This was it. She looked at him one last time before wrapping her arms around him tightly. He hugged her back without hesitation, holding her like he never wanted to let go. "I'll miss you," she whispered. "You better call me at 3 a.m., he whispered back, making her laugh through tears. When they finally pulled away, he gently wiped the tears from her cheeks and smiled softly. "No matter how far you go," he said quietly, "you're still my favorite person." She almost cried again hearing that. Then slowly, she walked toward the gate. But before disappearing completely, she turned around one last time. He was still standing there, watching her, smiling sadly. And even from far away, he lifted his phone slightly, a silent reminder, 3 a.m. That night, after arriving in her new city, she finally sat alone in her unfamiliar room. Everything felt strange, too quiet, too empty. Then her phone vibrated, a message from him. "You awake?" Her eyes immediately watered. She smiled while opening the folded paper he gave her earlier. Inside was a handwritten message. "Distance only changes where you are, not how much I love you. So no matter how many cities separate us, meet me again every 3 a.m. The first few weeks of long distance were harder than both of them expected. Everything felt unfamiliar to her. The new city, the new school, the quiet apartment she returned to every evening. Before, she used to spend her nights inside the coffee shop with him, laughing over random conversations until closing time. Now, most nights ended with her lying alone in bed, staring at her phone while waiting for his messages. But no matter how busy the day became, one thing never changed. At exactly 3 a.m., her phone always vibrated. Sometimes it was a simple message, "You still awake?" Sometimes it was a random photo of the sky outside his window. Sometimes it was just him complaining about missing her too much. And somehow, those little things made the distance easier. One rainy night, she called him while sitting beside her apartment window. The rain sounded almost the same as back home. For a moment, it made her miss him even more. They talked for hours that night. About her new classmates, about how tired he was from work, about how strange it felt not seeing each other every day anymore. Then suddenly, he became quiet. She noticed immediately. After a long pause, he admitted that he walked past their coffee shop earlier that evening, alone. Hearing that made her chest ache softly. She imagined him sitting at their usual table without her there beside him. "Was it weird?" she asked quietly. He laughed softly through the call. "A little." Another silence followed. Not awkward, just heavy. Then he spoke again, his voice softer this time. "But honestly, I still felt close to you." Her eyes slowly watered. "How?" "Because every corner of that place reminds me of you." She covered her mouth to stop herself from crying. The distance was difficult. There were nights when weak internet ruined their calls, nights when both of them were too tired to talk properly, nights when missing each other hurt too much. But somehow, they always found their way back. because even if cities separated them, their nights still belonged to each other. Before ending the call, he suddenly smiled. "I have something to show you next time." "What is it?" "You'll see." She laughed softly. Then after a few more minutes of talking, both of them slowly fell asleep during the call.